How are working mothers faring in the COVID crisis, the pandemic, the ongoing pressure on working, being a mother, caregiver, and teacher? What are the numbers saying? How are women faring in the workplace? More on that in a moment. My name is Beate Chalette. I am the growth architect, and I provide strategic consulting for Fortune 100 to startup companies. And we work in three different categories to help leaders make a bigger impact. And that is through workplace unification, business development, and leadership consulting. So, as you all know, or anyone who's ever listened to any of my videos, I was a single mom, immigrant from Germany, and I had to figure out how I'm going to run my business and be a mom and do all of this somewhat decently. You may also have seen or heard that I was able to succeed in creating my own American dream. I built and sold a business to Bill Gates. And certainly my story isn't the princess story, but my story is a story of hard knocks, which is the story for many working moms. So we understand that there are already so many things that are stacked against women in the workplace, mainly that we are giving birth to the babies, and we are, in many cases, not all, but in most cases, the primary caregiver for our children. We also make less money on average, although, in all fairness, some of these numbers are a little conflicting. I think we are getting better at it, but we still have not achieved full parity, which in itself has its own challenges. But back to talking about working mothers and the impact that this prolonged pandemic has had. We have looked at the study from the SHRM, and that's the Society for Human Resource Management that I subscribe to. And they talked about the experiences women have in the workplace. So imagine, so about 1/3 of all women in the US either know someone who's left a job throughout the pandemic, or are one who, or are themselves leaving. And this is primary to caregiving responsibilities. So again, almost a third, 27% of employed women who are caregivers, and caregivers means that they're either taking care of family members or they're taking care of children, feel that the pandemic has really stifled their professional development compared to 10% of the men. Why is that? That means that we are seeing that women, because they are adding an extra 20 hours on average in the pandemic in caregiving duties to what we already did before, which is another part-time job, basically, right? That pushes women sort of at the complete brink of their physical, emotional, and mental capabilities. The report also said that almost half, 40% of the women said that they feel that women who are supervisors are better at expressing empathy and inclusive practices such as mentorship. And, most people surveyed say that women just do better in a crisis, which is conclusive with my findings, because I believe that in crisis management, softer leadership skills, and I've done many videos on this, such as empathy, collaboration, community building, are more valuable than traditionally male. And we're talking about the perception of the leadership attribute. Of course, there are women who are possessing these, and of course, there are men who are possessing, empathy and other skills like that. So I'm not saying that's not possible, but I'm talking about the perception of the leadership skill, on whether that particular skill or attribute is considered more on the female or more on the male side. And I'm doing that because my goal is, in order to establish balanced leadership, to really identify, male leadership skills and female leadership skills, and then to bring them together and teach leaders on how to seamlessly go between one and the other so that we can lead more balanced, because the situational leadership requires you to adjust your leadership style based upon what the situation required. I mean, that's just not even brain surgery. That's pretty self-explanatory. So The survey also says that from everybody who was surveyed, and that was employed Americans, that's not just women, that's men and women, 40%, 44% agreed that women in the workplace have a much more challenging position when they have caregiving responsibilities in the pandemic. So almost half of America agrees that working women with childcare responsibilities are bearing the brunt of this pandemic. The question I have to you now is, what are we going to do about that? Are we just going to sit there and say, yeah, well, that's too bloody bad. You know, they brought it upon themselves, which unfortunately I do hear. Or are we going to say, well, if that is the truth, and these are not just her children, these are our children, right? It's a man and a woman have a child together. So, what are we going to do from an organizational perspective to help women to master these incredible challenges? So, I want to hear from you about this, especially from the women that are in the trenches. What would it have to be like for you to feel that you're supported by your organization? Because I do talk to C-level executives and thought leaders in this space, and they always ask me, what should we do? So tell me what they should do. What would give you some reprieve? This again is Beate Gillette, the growth architect. Please leave your comments below. And if you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe, and tell everyone about this. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you next time. Goodbye.